Hello, y'all. I am Divine Celion. How are you doing? It's been a while since I've had one of these longer talks. And this is going to be a long talk, so this actually may be split up in a couple of sections. With that being said, I want you to know that this is a safe space where we talk about love and transformation and tantric practices and principles for the basis of self-love and elevating yourself. But I did want to say that if in any way you're triggered, you're having a hard time and you're not feeling like you can keep going, please stop watching. Go see a professional. I am not a professional therapist. I'm not here to give that type of counsel. Thank you. But please do go see one. So, I am not a doctor. I am not a financial advisor. I am a spiritual advisor and an ordained minister. And I'm allowed to give spiritual advice, and that's what I do. So, if this resonates with you, I really hope it does. This was some profound information that I was able to kind of download and compile, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it. So, with that, let's get going. So, I have a question for you. Love. This talk, as usual, I talk about love, right? But there's this whole thing about woke culture. And one of the specials that Cat Williams had, he has, his necklace and his pendant that says woke. And there's what he said to it. Because, everyone gives it a connotation that's bad or negative, I should say, because of woke culture. Okay? But he said woke just means to be awake. So where are you guys getting this, right? So along that vein, what came to me is that love is the real woke culture. Let me explain. Okay? And let's start from the beginning. If you look at love is selfish, but not selfish for the point of being selfish. It is selfish because of what it brings you, what it requires to bring to you what it is that you're asking for into your life. So it's not selfish in the way of being negative. You have to be selfish to be selfless, but because it gives you everything, it's selfish and it requires a payment. You've heard me say this, okay? Love gives you experience. It gives you understanding. It helps you understand those experiences. It gives you lessons, right? It sets you up for compassion and the works of compassion. It serves you. Love wakes you up to what is, what truly is in your authentic self. And if you really look at it, it's a contract that you set up for your own change by allowing and bringing in the dark when you won't listen or you won't see, because only love and acts of love can do that. Okay. Only, I should say the only acts of love or dark can do that. So let me explain. Whenever do you change a bad habit in a love space? Unless you're made to feel guilty, see the error of the way, you're using love to do that. But what is usually the catalyst for the change? Remember, we talked about Newton's laws, and I think it's law number 2, about change. And things won't change direction. Basically, I'm giving the paraphrase. Things won't change direction unless there's an equal force or more to make it move, make it change, right? So when you challenge love, it's going to bring in a catalyst to make you change to the way it needs you to. Okay? And so it's a catalyst for your change, for everyone's change. Okay? You're required, and I have my notes. So you're required to complete and fulfill a task and contract that you agreed to come back here and be here in the first place. You decide what it is that you need to work on, unless Spirit tells you what it is that you need to work on, that it needs you to do so you can get back to the all mind. We each have a contract that we need to fulfill to get back to the all mind. And when we don't, we lied to Spirit and ourselves. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Okay? In order to come back here, you have to have a contract to be here, because you are to learn something. You're to fulfill something. There's a payment to be here. People don't realize that. And we decided that contract. Even for the ones we didn't and we're responsible for, we still have to fulfill those contracts. And it will be shown to you what it is that you need to do. Okay? So then, by you not, or by you having that contract, you have energies that try to deter you from completing your contract. Okay? From completing the promise that you made on that path to your goal. So you have the distractions. Okay? And when you give in to a lot of those distractions, the reaching of your goal is deterred. Hence, divine timing being based on you and your ability to reach that goal as quickly or not as quickly as possible. That depends on you and your choices along the path. Okay? We'll get to that. So what happens is when love, or when you get off your path and you've lost your way and you're prolonging time, love's job is to bring you back onto your path, right? But a lot is required to do that. You have many people, different, universes of people, right? And the multiverse that expands out, everything's infinite. So, that means that love has to get people that interrupts their universes, time, those people's time, resources, that's money, abundance, all these things have to be thrown in a pot. Energy, other paths that are going to be influenced because of what you're doing, whether good or bad. Do you understand? You never just influence and affect you. You affect everyone, right? And so other people's paths become altered. And then it makes you think of the example of Jesus. Why was he here? Right? Like, he was here because of the sin of Adam and Eve and what they did. And then Jesus had to come in and be an example of love and sacrifice. But that affected a lot of people's lives even to this day. And what we do, how we commune, how we go in people's lives, leave people's lives. You understand? A lot is involved. So, what happens and what changes based on people's choices determines the ripple effect of different things. It's really like a situation branched off. And then those have how many branches, and those have how many branches. That's what I'm trying to say. So to keep you and get you back on your path requires so much energy and payment, right? Based on your choices and your reasons not to fulfill the promise. See, everyone gets affected energy-wise. You can get sidetracked and blurred by the fluff. Your truth, your purpose, that's your main focus, right? But then you get these addictions here. You get, I don't want to say mental health but you can get mental health thrown on you in trauma. Let's put it like that. You get all these things that are not geared toward your path to help you throw you off your path, right? What helps you keep on your path is staying in the right now. We talked about that through some of my shorter videos. Because that keeps you forever in the space of where you are, being focused, disciplined, and being present. That's what being in that right now means, being present. Discipline makes you remember what you've learned already to stay on the path. So let me explain. You're walking the path of life, right? You made a contract to come back. You get born. You're walking it. Things will get thrown at you to kind of throw you off. You have to remember what it is, and that's through the experiences that are happening. And then you have to remember what you learned to not do again, so you don't repeat and prolong you getting to your goal. You understand? And when you do repeat, you just get in the same test over again until you've mastered the test, which is always a mastery of self. Another level of the mastery of self, okay, or your spirit, because self doesn't exist. So, sometimes those of us don't have discipline. That's what this face is. Sometimes some of us don't have discipline. And we're like, you know what? This is too damn hard. I don't feel like going through all this. I don't feel like doing it. You chuck it. You make a contract with the other side to have it easier for a payment due at a later date. You understand? So some people try to cheat their test. This is where desire comes in. This is why desire gets people in trouble. Okay? Now, with that desire piece, love teaches you to overcome that desire, that want, and to control it into something positive. So when you can't beat or change the negativity, you need your strongest weapon. That's love. Okay? But there is always, and I want you to understand this, okay? There is always work required. When I say that love demands you, that means the work required of you to go through you to fix you. And yes, there is a purpose to do this. Okay? The work required to call it in. The payment is you. See, when you ask for a relationship, when you ask for better friends, when you ask for better family, when you're asking for a better work environment, you're asking for love to come in. When you're asking for healing, you're asking for love to come in. When you're asking for miracles, you're asking for love to come in. You're asking for something to love you enough to do this for you, because you can't do it yourself. And you think there's no payment to love? You've asked love to do something for you. Of course there's a payment. There has to be a get to give, a give to get. Okay? So you didn't call it in, but you don't want to do the work. No, you're the payment. I want you to get this in your head. You are the payment for what you do. Either way, it's you. Whether you're the payment to love for it to take care of it for you, or whether you end up doing it, learning the lesson, watching, doing it again to make sure you got it. And either way, you are the payment. Either way, you're the one doing the work. Either way, you're the one experiencing it. You understand what I'm saying? So the payment is you. You still have to do the work. You still have to be tested through it to make sure you don't repeat it. Okay? It says, okay, I'm going to give you and I'm going to show you all that you need to have this understanding to never do it again, or to never repeat it again, or to repeat the good stuff again, and then teach another and give it to another. Okay? That leads you to your promise. The service leads you to your promise. Okay? But again, when most see that it's too much work, or what's required, and that'll be your life, they look for an easy way out. Right? Then taking energy and resources and things that don't belong to you. Hence the 10 Commandments. You think that was just for physical stuff? That was also for energetic. Coveting. The magic and the ether work at that time was way more powerful and different than now. They dealt with things that today we couldn't even fathom. And the only reason why people make these deals is because they're exchanging something to get something now, but they don't understand there's limits on what they're making a deal for. There's limits. It's not open-ended. It is not infinite. There's a limit. So that can take a while to see, right? Because you have now put yourself in a hell space. And you can't see love in a hell space. You will see love in the way you understand it, but you will not see love for what it really is. And so that's why we get angry when we're in a hell space. In our own script, that's what I call hell space. In our own scripts that keep us in the negative. You can't see, you can't understand the light side of love because you're in the darkness. Okay? So you can't heal. You're tormented. You're like a tormented soul walking around. Guilt, envy, jealousy, pride, lust, greed, all those. Gluttony, stealing, ruining other people's lives, selfishness, all that. Okay? You're in a hell. Now, some of you be like, I prefer to be that way. Sure. Until a certain point happens. See, some people suppress it down so much that they believe the lie that they do. And there are some that do. And those are beyond the humanistic person when you get that. But some of them suppress it so much because to remember that pain is just too damn painful. It would damn near kill you. So you'd rather stay in the dark. No. No, because at some point, it's going to tear your soul apart so bad, you'll no longer have one. It'll eat it. Okay? It becomes the norm state for you, where life doesn't exist. And you won't be able to understand the love lessons you're getting. They'll just make you more angry. You'll be more volatile. Okay? But the thing is, with every choice you're making, you're staying in that hell space. You're choosing to stay in that hell space because you like the feeling, but you don't like the feeling. And that's what that hell space does. It gives you this power. But the power is limited compared to the power of love. And you don't see that volatile all the time in love. You see the camaraderie. You see the pain and the tears. You see that. But it is not always in the fighting spirit. You don't understand because you're in your hell space. Still a fight. Just for which side? See. So those love lessons continue to piss you off and want to know why you keep getting them. You're in your hell space. You're not going to see the lessons. You're going to see the attack. Okay? But when we've been through enough, when we've been torn up enough, that's when you start to look love in the eye. And the same rules apply. Okay? That was presented before. Are you going to walk through the valley of your hell to get to the sun to the other side? Are you willing to do that for yourself? See, same rules apply as before. When you asked and you said, no, this is too hard and I don't want to do it, you're going to be presented with the same question. So, you must walk through your pain. And now, you must walk through the pain you added to your cycle that you didn't need to add by going that easy route in the first place. Now, as you walk and heal, you begin to awaken to the knowledge that was always and has always waited for you. You start to understand the unseen. When you go to you and you return to you, you start to access and have access to the knowledge of love and what love really is, and the understanding of the unseen. That is through love. Okay? You just needed to know what it meant to be human before being more than that. Okay? You needed to see hell to ascend higher. A lot of us do. You had to be ready to wake up, because what you see is not what is seen. You have to be prepared to see and be the unseen. All right, y'all. I'm going to stop here. And we're going to do a part 2 to this. I want this to digest in you a little bit. If you have questions, please write them in the comments. But I hope, and I know it's like I said, it's big. It's like, I'm going to cap it up. Let's do this. To be here, you make a contract to come. Okay? There's parameters to the game. There's rules. Some people come and they break these rules. But you made a promise to play the game the way that it's supposed to be played, but you don't remember how it's supposed to be played. And then you have somebody like Slugworth come and say, hey, I can make it easier for you, but it's going to cost you this at a later time. As opposed to you just staying and managing the contract the way that you signed it. So then say you go in that direction, in the other direction, you get for a while. And then, though, it's not what you thought. And you'll your life starts becoming a living hell. And then your thoughts and everything you've been through makes your hell worse. And you don't want to go through the pain you just went through again to clear it out, to get to that light, so you stay in that hell space. Until you decide, I can't take it anymore. I need to get out of this hell space. This is not working for me. And then you start rising up and faced with the same question of, are you going to now continue your path that you made a promise to do when you came back? We're holding you accountable. And you decide yes. So you got to get through all that sludge in that hell space. That pain you caused, you got to walk right back through again. And heal. And convince yourself and tell yourself you love yourself. Which is the hardest thing to do. And every time you walk that love path, it takes you back to the traumas. It starts you in the present, and it takes you back to those traumas that you need to heal so you can be completely healed until you get back to the beginning trauma of even being birthed in this damn world. And then you find gratefulness for the opportunity to be here and experience, because you get it. Because you're walking in love, you get the understanding and you get it. You understand that in loving yourself, we are able to love other people, to make us commune again in love for a genuine purpose where we vibrate together, returning back to Source and the All-Mind. Because that's what it's about, is one singular God as all of us. That's God. All of us. Do you understand? That is infinite energy. That's God. So, just like in math, you have those cheats. 1 over 1 is 1, or any number over itself is 1, is the same cheat. We have God energy. We as one are God. And God is the eternal energy. Still God. You understand? It's interchangeable. Depending on your perception and point of view. You made a promise. How many of you are living that promise? How many of you are even trying to find that promise, to fulfill that promise for the gift of being here? How many are even grateful to be here, to continue to do the work and figure it out. How many of you haven't given up and taken the easy path? And how many of you have? It is not about what you get. It is not about what the spirit realm gives you or what you can gain, because you can't take it with you, and there's a reason why you can't. That's the illusion. It's about what you give and the love you receive in kind, not the dollar value, the love. How much love do you connect? How much love you got in your love bank? How rich are you there? That's what I care about. A dollar figure don't mean shit when you leave this world, but your love bank does. How loved you are does. That matters. What did you give in service? Because the more you serve, the more you get. And for those that serve and have gotten so beat down and so beat up, you are owed a great abundance. We serve, no matter how big we are. And the bigger we are, the more powerful we are, the more we serve. Because you can't do what we can do. So, if the spirits, not all of them, but if love can serve you, why the hell can't you serve love? You ask it for so much, but you give back to it so little. Why? You need to ask yourself that question. What are you giving to love as opposed to everything love has given to you? Because the last time I checked, it sacrificed one of its greatest loves for you. You think obedience is what it wants from you? In that aspect, a church said that, not my Father. Really look at the obedience he was talking about. And why? You want to know how to pass this test? The word. The real, authentic word of my Father. And understanding what he said. Look beyond. He gave you the answer. And right before the book of Revelation, just like it's happening now, love is the only way to be saved. He said it right before the end. How many of you know that? He told you plainly. But yet no one, and hardly any church or religion, teaches that. But you call yourself Christian or a follower of Christ, when that is all he talked about was love. So then why don't you understand it? You should ask yourself these questions. You should ask yourself what you really serve and what you're really following. And if how you're living is according to my Father's word. And if it ain't, then you really need to question and reevaluate what the word means and what it is truly. And I do mean Truly. And if you need to know what that means, it ain't in a book. It's in you. You don't go ask pages. You go ask the divine itself. Why would I go through a middleman or material item when I can go to the source and get my answer? Some of y'all been doing this all wrong. And some of you have been creating a false following based on your flawed belief. Find it in you. That's where you find it. In you. There's a direct link. You don't need nobody else to find it for you. It's right there, and it's for free. Yeah, I went there. Because we're tired of the fake ones saying they know. And I ain't seen shit but what other people have regurgitated words from a goddamn Bible. Not my father's. And then you don't explain it. Or when you do explain it, it's flawed. He didn't follow anybody but love. It's very simple. He told you what to do. He didn't explain all the nuances of what he was explaining to you. That's what the chosen are here for. To lead it by example, to teach it, and to show you. Because the church is corrupted. That's why the chosen are doing it. But in order for the chosen to do it, they must understand what love even means, what it requires, why it is, why it always has been, why it always will be, and why that's the connecting force to bring back the all-mind. We are one. And we are all. You've got to understand that. That in order to move together, we must move separately to return back to the together. We have to know how to move separately first to go back to move together. We must understand the individual pieces to form the whole. It is not about conformity. It is about individualism that fits the whole, because everyone has a puzzle piece mechanism that fits. So why would you need it to conform if we're automatically going to fit individually? You don't. That's the lie. And the most beautiful pieces are the ones that are unique and rare, that stand out, whose edges are rough, whose pictures are worn and beat up, but others come and help repaint it because they decided to not conform. Those are the most beautiful pieces of work. Those are the ones I love to see and see their story. Why would I want to read a story if everyone's is the same? That's not interesting. But the broken, the beat up, the traumatic, the healing, the rejuvenation, the rebirth, that's interesting. Because that's life. That's energy. My loves, you are an interesting, rare sculpture that has a story. Your story is rooted in love. You want to know how to wake up and get back to your roots? Forget looking at a race or a culture. Find out what love is. That's your root. Not what is of the physical shell. What is of your spiritual self. That is who you are. That is your authenticity. Your spiritual self. You just here having a human experience. And we have to fall to be human, is to be ignorant and like a child. So as my father said, you must be childlike, because that's where the innocence of not knowing is. And it's not bad, is it? We think it's cute. Why is it then when we get older, we think it's bad? You see how the double standard doesn't make sense. You understand? And how it ruins everything in the perception. You're a beautiful piece of artwork. Why in the hell would you want to be like any other? If you're like any other, you're going to be passed by, no matter what the hell you have. But when you're different and unique, and you got flaws, and you got that cellulite, and you got that bald head, you whatever it is, then we're looking at masterpieces in the making, and we get to see it. That's exciting. That's love. All right, my loves. I will make your part 2 very soon. I love you. You behave now. Have a wonderful weekend. Namaste.